This video is for men over 40 who are struggling with mental health issues like feelings of overwhelm and stress and low self-worth, all of the things that go along with that low mood. And I'm doing this video to just help people that are stuck in their life, where you got to that point in your life where you're thinking, what am I going to do with the rest of my life? How am I going to be secure? What about my finances? What about my family? What if everything goes wrong? What if I'm out of work? And you get stuck in having more of that than having better days, you know. So I'm going to talk a little bit about what that is and how to start resolving it so that you can get out of your own way and get yourself into a clear space so that you can make better decisions when you're in a clear place. It's very hard to do something like start a new business, or there's so much pressure out there to even start an online business where you could start making more money and have passive income. So many courses. I'm not going to be teaching you about that stuff. You can figure out what that is for yourself. Whatever you're passionate about, whatever you feel like your purpose is, whatever you feel like will add value to your life, and it's something that you're going to enjoy, I'll leave that up to you. What I am going to help you with is the emotions that get in the way, that stop people from doing this. And this even includes people that are living the laptop lifestyle. I know that from working with people like this is they still reach that threshold where they say, I'm not happy, I feel like I'm working harder, my brain just feels like it's just burnt out. And there's reasons why that happens. And there's also a way to prevent it from happening. And I'm going to try my best to show you in each video. So follow me on this channel. And you're going to get more ways of reeling your mind back to a clear place, that when you're actually doing something that's going to add value to your life, that you're not in a state of overwhelm, you're not in a state of anxiety or stress. And most people are feeling like this at the moment because of all of the information that's coming in all the time. And it seems like it's got more difficult because there's more technology, there's more apps, there's more software, there's more stuff. And as soon as you sit down to go and do it, then you get distracted. If you've got kids, you've got to bring them somewhere. Someone gets sick, you're in the hospital, you have to go for an appointment, you're back in work again, you've got bills, you need to go shopping. All this stuff is too much for a person's mind to process. It's possible to be able to have all of that happening around you and be in a clear state of mind, so you're not really dealing with what's happening tomorrow or next week or the week after, because as I said, your brain's not designed to live anything beyond the moment that you're in. It's not designed to process information about tomorrow. We're only designed to pay attention to what's in front of you in real time, and that's your maximum point of power. So the ideal thing would be if you could stay in the present moment and learn to just reel it all back in and simplify your thinking and not your life. So if your life is complicated, it's not about simplifying your life. It's about simplifying your thinking so that you're in a peaceful place. So you can look at your life and really make an assessment of what's important and where your energy and your attention needs to go. Because there will be a point in your life where you do get to do that. And if you look at old people get to kind of take a big step back and look at all of their life without attachment, without like putting too much meaning on it, without feeling like that it was either this or that. They can see the things that's important, and that's called perspective. The ability to step back, take a metaphorical step back and look at everything without judgment and just observe it and get a feeling of what's right and wrong. And in that moment, when a person's old, they look back and they think, you know what I could have done now that I think about it and I can see it clearly and I'm not attached to any particular outcome. And I'm looking at it subjectively. I could have just started up like a little business. And I could have just focused on the smallest little thing that I could do in each moment. And just eventually it would have turned into something big. But I couldn't do that because I was so caught up in the past and the future in my head and worrying about the next thing and being distracted. My attention was all over the place. It was being hijacked by the doorbell ringing, by the phone ringing, by text messages. So there's reasons why people are stressed. And even people that are sitting on the beach with a laptop that are making six figures, they do feel a sense of tension and stress as well. Not all of them. I'm not saying this is happening to everybody. There's some people out there that are actually in a good place. But for those people who are feeling all of these emotions, there is a way to bring it back and keep recalibrating yourself to just what's happening right now in front of me. What's the smallest next step that I can take that will move me in the right direction? And I don't want to be caught up in this ocean of self-help. It seems like everybody's a fucking expert now on, 5 things that you can do to make your life better. Those 5 things for me is 5 things too much to add into my brain, to add into my working memory, to bring into my already busy day that I can't predict because there's so many things happening that I have to kind of respond in real time. So having 5 tips and 5 steps and 3 steps and different ways of thinking adds more overwhelm. Now, when you're in a good place, these things are good to be able to consider to do, so you don't have to do them. But my approach is, and I know it works because I personally have brought myself through a total transformation of being able to go from working with people one-to-one over the past few years. And it was very uncomfortable for me to think that I'd have to go and work online because I had all sorts of reasons why it wasn't as good as working one-to-one. But that was all in my mind. Then I decided, okay, I'm going to have to do this. And I eventually did it. But along the way, as I was starting to create this new version of myself, if you want to call it that, there was all of these things that I had to learn that were outside of my expertise, which was the technology part of it. And my brain was hurting. I could feel it, because I was challenging myself to come up with new ideas and new approaches. And I was building a course, an online course. And I had to design it, I had to plan it, I had to figure out how to script it out, I had to figure out what people needed, I had to figure out how to do the sales process right, I had to figure out all the technology. All of this stuff here is part of the stuff that helps me to do what I do. Now, years ago, you didn't need all that stuff. You could just send a leaflet around the doors and you'd have clients, and that's as simple as it was. So life wasn't complicated and overwhelming. So what I did notice is that there was moments when I was sitting here at the table and I had all the stuff laid out and I was doing something new and I was coming up with great ideas, but there was I was getting headaches and I was like, what is this? This shouldn't be like this. It shouldn't be this uncomfortable. But what was happening in that moment is I was going to the edge of my map. I was reaching my boundaries and I was starting to step into creation. And when you start to evolve and you start to change and grow, you're going to have these uncomfortable feelings, especially in your brain, because new neurons are starting to light up and wire up and fire up, and there's connections being made. So obviously, if you're going beyond what you know into what you don't know, your brain's going to have to adapt to the circumstances, and you are going to feel what I was calling uncomfortable at the time, and I changed it to change. So as I was going through the process, I was like, no, this is a good thing because I'm evolving here. I'm only happy when I'm evolving. But if I don't feel anything, how am I ever going to know that I'm changing? Now, the reason I'm telling you this is because this is going to happen. And the danger is that when you start to feel these feelings, you can start to put the wrong labels on the feelings that you're getting. And then change feels bad. And that's where I noticed that there's a point there where it could go one way or another. I could go, I can't do this. This is too much. I just want to sit down and escape. And I could have escaped into drink, drugs, smoking, eating. I could have went down that road and done something that was going to make me feel better, but at the end of the day, I wouldn't have gotten it done, and I would have been feeling guilty. So there's people that are at a stage of their life, and it's usually specifically men because they feel like they're the breadwinners and they need to do these things and they need to provide for their family. So what I'm doing is I'm reaching out to men, and I want you to interact with me. I want you to leave me messages, send me messages, and just ask me questions, because I'm able to give you good insight that will prevent you from having the struggle, to take the struggle out of it so that you can have the challenge instead of the struggle. You can interact with your life instead of relating to it. Kind of like when you see Richard Branson and he's got all these businesses going, he's got trains and planes and all these different companies. And I remember seeing a video of him years ago when the volcanoes were at the going off, and someone said to Richard Branson, all your airplanes are grounded, Richard, that must be quite stressful for you. And he's like, oh, not really, while I'm waiting, I'm just going to build a spaceship, and he's got spaceships, he's building rockets to go to the moon. We're talking about going into space, and I'll just focus on that project at the moment. And he was just like, most Irish people would be having a nervous breakdown. My planes are grounded, what am I going to do? And they're going to be relating to the circumstances of what's happening outside, and taking it personal, and then getting caught up in this washing machine in your head that you're going over and over and over. What's the worst case scenario? What's going to happen? Why did this happen to me? That's the mindset I want to help you to get away from, and to get into the process of being able to let everything pass without judgment, and to be able to interact with the smallest thing in front of you, like the smallest next step. You can only do one step at a time, but people are taking too much leaps. And I know this from experience. If I ask anybody, what's the smallest next step that you can take to move you in the right direction, to move you in the direction that you want to go? And they always go about a day or two out into the future. Like, oh, just get up in the morning and just go to work and just enjoy it. Like, no, that's too much of a leap. You're not even there yet. You know, and I have to keep asking the question, what's the smallest next step? It's like drive home. No, before that, smaller. It's like, I don't know. And it might seem so small that it might even seem insignificant. And they can't process that because they have to go further on out into the distance. What's the smallest next step that you can take to move you in the direction that you want to go? And I have to help them a bit by telling them a story about somebody else. And the smallest next step that they can take is just getting up out of the chair, because that's the only step that's available to you. But we've lost track of that moment. People have forgotten that they're present. And you don't have to try and be present, you are, but people forget. What I'm here to do is I'm here to help people to take the smallest next step, which is only what's available to you right now, and open up that book one page at a time. And if it's a notebook where you're going to take down notes of what you need to do to start your business venture, to expand your creativity so that you feel like you're evolving and that you have a mission. And when the studies were done, that it turned out that men just want a mission and women want security. That was the main principles of what men and women really wanted. Women wanted security and men wanted a mission. So when a man woke up in the morning and he had a mission, he felt like he was alive, because he's the hunter-gatherer, and that felt like he had a purpose, you know. But what's happened lately is there's so much information coming in to the mind all of the time that it just paralyzes you and you don't know where to start. And the only place you can start is in the smallest next step. And my videos are going to help you there's going to be different ones that are going to kind of explain it this way and that way and another way, just to reel it back and quieten down. And eventually what you're going to find is, I think I'm starting to get this. It's a new way of thinking, and it's completely the opposite of what I was trying to do. Because what I was trying to do was, if I learned more about what to do and got more things to do, somehow my life would get less complicated. But that's not the way it works. Your life gets more complicated the more you do. You have to pick something that feels right and just go with what that is. And a lot of people that I talk to have just given up because, you know, I've tried everything and it's just like this learned helplessness. And to be honest with you, during the past 5 years with the lockdowns and stuff like that, it's gotten worse for people because they've got learned helplessness. They've been told so many things about the future's going to be terrible, we're all going to die, cases. Go home, stay home, be safe, and we'll set you free in 2 weeks. Go home, stay there, don't leave the house for 5 weeks. It's just 5 weeks to flatten the curve. And then you stay there for 5 weeks, and then they set you free again, they give you your freedom back. And then they pull the rug from underneath your mat again and go, no, go back, stay a 5 mile radius, don't go past 5 miles, stay at home, wear a mask. We'll set you free after that. If you just follow these orders, we'll set you free. Go home. You need an injection, you need to get a vaccine. If you get the vaccine, then we'll set you free. And you get the vaccine. No, you need to, pull the mat up from underneath you again. Your freedom's gone again. Everyone's like, what's the fucking point? Just do it. Like, you need another one. Go home, stay safe. You're going to die. And all of this over the past 5 years has got people to just give up hope. And it's called learned helplessness. It's to the point where you could offer the person freedom and they just go, I don't want to. I've tried. I'm fucking giving up. Like, there's no point. Tried this. Some fella told me to do that and I did that. And that didn't work. And the more you try and do, the more overwhelmed you become. And the more you get let down, the more you give up. Right? There's a patterns to this, and I can see the patterns. And I have the ability and responsibility to be able to share how to stay out of that noise and that mess, because it's a mindset. You know, it's people are caught up in their head, and they're thinking and feeling and thinking and feeling. And then you sit down like when I was sitting down at this table here and I was putting out the big blueprint for the course I was creating at the time. It was just like, I don't know what step to take next. Hang on, I just go in and check to see what's going on with this pandemic thing. And it was just like all this information was coming in all the time, and you know, we had to protect our families and make sure this wasn't bullshit and that there wasn't really anything going sinister going on. And I'm able to see sinister because I'm in the present moment, and I knew something wasn't right about the whole thing, and I had to kind of keep my eye on the ball and make sure that I wasn't misinforming myself and getting fed misinformation from this side. And there's just so much happening, especially even now there's so much happening. So what I can do is teach you to take a step back and just observe it. Like you're overlooking the whole thing, but you're not attached to it. And you're like, oh, look at all these people. Fuck, I used to be like that, running around in circles. You know, I can see it now, but right now I don't have to interact with that. I've got this thing right in front of me that I could be doing that could lead me in the right direction. So when you're doing something new and you're trying to evolve, you're going to feel uncomfortable. But if you label that uncomfortable feeling with growth, it will feel different and it will add a different experience. Because if you're not feeling uncomfortable, you're not changing. But if you're changing, isn't that a good thing? That you're changing and you're evolving? Because if you're changing, you're going to be moving in the direction that you want to go. But if you're not doing anything and you're not changing, you're going to get depressed and you're going to get stuck. You're going to feel helpless and hopeless. And some people are struggling through their life like that and through the week. And they're trying to make sense of what's going on and what the other person is doing and how my relationship is going and what it means and who did what and why they're making me feel like this. Is all this noise. I want to help you to get out of that noise. So follow my channel, follow my videos, ask me questions, send me a private message if you don't like leaving comments. A lot of people don't like leaving comments. Send me a private message and say, hey Paul, I'm in this particular situation, and I'll talk to you about it, and then I'll make kind of a side video, not about you, but about the topic, because that's going to help other people. So you never know how far this change can go if you start to watch these videos, how much it can start to change your life. I specifically work with men over 40. It just happened that way. It wasn't planned, but I kind of fell into that path, and more men over 40 were contacting me at this kind of part of their life where they're feeling, look, I've gotten so far in my life and I feel like I've just stopped and my relationship has gone pear-shaped. I'm not happy at work. It's affecting my work. And I started making my videos that were kind of talking to that kind of person, and they can relate to me more because I'm over 40 as well. I'm not struggling. I have challenges in my life. I used to struggle. So just watch my videos, ask me questions, leave a comment, because other people will interact with the comments and they might start to, you know, open up about their issues, and you never know, you could be helping them as well. There's lots of people struggling with this. I can see it in their eyes. They look lost. They look like there's a glazed over look in their eye, and they look fed up, but they're putting a face on, and I can read this because that's what I look for. I look for unconscious, non-verbal communication with people, where someone could say, oh, I'm fine, but you know they're not. Are you sure you're okay? Yeah, I'm fine. I'm like, no, you're not. What's going on? I can see it in people's eyes that a lot of people are pretending everything's okay, but they're not really. If you know someone that's feeling like this, send them on this video, give them a little bit of light and hope that there's possibly a way out of that feeling. And it's not therapy. It's not just standard coaching. It's not just tips and tricks. You know, it's not blinding you with science and baffling you with bullshit. And do you know why? You know, it's not this more, you don't need to know why you're feeling like this too much. It's nice to have a little bit of the why. What you have to start doing is getting the how. How do I get out of this? How do I get out of this mindset? And how can I be the best me that I can be? And how can I be truly helpful to other people? That's all you need to think of in each moment, is what's right, what's the right thing to do, and how can I be truly helpful? Moment to moment, just paying attention to what's in front of you without judgment. And when you feel uncomfortable when you're starting something new, it means you're changing. So I hope you get something from this video. It's just an off-the-cuff video. I set the camera up and I said, I'm just going to talk about this because I was talking to someone last night online and they were in the same situation and they just felt like they were giving up. I spent 20 minutes talking to them, half an hour, and it got them to see that there was possibly a way out of this, and they felt much better and they were able to get on with their day. And they messaged me today and said, thank you very much. I don't know what you said to me last night, but I do feel much better. So knock me on a message. Take the smallest next step. And the only smallest next step that you can do is put your phone down and, as best you can, leave that aside a little bit. Practice leaving that aside so that you're not getting overwhelmed and you're not getting distracted. And that when you go to start your new thing, turn one page at a time. That's like a book. You turn one page at a time. So thank you for watching. I'm Paul Campbell, and I'll talk to you in the next video.